So I just want to point out, Lewis said go for it, and then proceeded to go, shit, I might turn the light on, and walked away.
That's why I started laughing. That's why I started laughing.
I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about that. Was that... I feel like Lewis just fucking with me now.
Why? What did I do?
You, you were like, yeah, we're good to go. And then you're like, oh, hold on, I'm gonna turn the light on. And like, I literally just went over to the live screen. Perfect timing. It's like we've done this before. Hi everybody. Who's in the chat? We've got Crash. Sometimes if he's not hurrying me up in the podcast, he's telling me to kill people in games to which you don't kill people.
Kill something already.
Yeah, he's playing observation. Kill something already. Not a kill game.
At all. Playing Tetris, and he's like, "When are you gonna kill something?"
It's fucking Pac-Man. We want me
kill those lines.
Yeah. Damn it! Do the math. It's Math Blaster.
No.
The mask or the cat? Oh, okay. I thought it was a mask. It's a cocksock. What is that?
No, it's Michael Myers.
The Michael Myers cocksock.
Oh, this kind of sucks. I just noticed that my live sign is battery. The light's dead.
Oh, so now they're just gonna bust in there and interrupt, and you're gonna have to just give them a.
I don't know if you saw me, but I put my hand out like this just now because my kid was about to walk in here.
You know what you do is when they interrupt, like if you see that door coming and they go to interrupt, you toss the dog to them, and while they're distracted catching it, you belt them right in the face. It stops happening tonight. I guarantee you do that.
Not the dog's fault. No, I'm not going to toss the dog.
No, she'll get caught. That's the whole thing. Is because any one of your family members or friends, they'll be so focused on catching and preserving the animal, open face shot. They got no defenses. Just saying. Think about it. It'll
if
stop.
You don't want to toss the dog. Get a fake dog that looks like
The whole time Alex is like petting this fake dog, just staring at the door, not even talking to us. He's just like, I'm gonna knock you the fuck out.
A prop that's really heavy though, so the weight catches them off guard.
Have you seen those dogs that you can actually order to make it look like your actual dog?
That's kind of weird.
I'm gonna get you stuffed.
It's a stunt dog.
What pose should I get my dog stuffed in when he dies?
So Crash responded with, "That's what I do."
That's what he does. He comes in and he interrupts, and then he's like, "Yo, my ADD's kicking in." Jen says no. I'm gonna get Jen stuff too. She just doesn't know it.
Nobody comes to the door. You're gonna throw.
I try not to laugh at my own jokes, but some of them are just so fucked up. Formaldehyde. We're here to review. We went back to our horror roots. Horror roots. We're doing two actually pretty gritty movies. Which one are we reviewing first? I don't think we talked about that.
I imagine X is probably going to be first.
Probably, yeah. Sounds right.
So X is like
20 old murderers.
Yeah, it could have been like it should have been a old person's romantic comedy of just like their side where they're just slaying everybody. Stuff the Ducklings. Interesting. Hi, Vet.
Skyrock also. Jen says stuffed with wet net.
I don't know what you stuff people with.
Should we like go away for the X-rated movie for you?
No. I had no innuendo. I meant post-mortem.
Oh.
When it's stuffed her like a goddamn Build-A-Bear. I'm gonna put a little bow tie.
If you tell them it's your birthday, it's for free.
Ooh. What the fuck? That's gonna be an interesting Build-A-Bear. Like the people that Build-A-Bear.
So when you squeeze her finger, it's what's his face in that movie where he's like, "What is that? What the fuck is that?" What? Not even in her voice, just in his voice.
I think I might even have that somewhere. Let's see. Here we go. You guys can't hear it, but they can.
What is that? What the fuck is that?
I can hear it. But no, I don't know. Like the people at Build-A-Bear are so nice. Can you imagine if like they're just like, "Hi, how are you doing today? What can I help you with?" And you're just like a garbage bag full of skin, and they're just like, fucking. that teenager's fucked the rest of their life.
And you show a picture. Can you make the eyes look like this?
Look, I love my wife dearly. Oh, is that the stuffing? Just like a stupid asshole.
Here's a recording of her last
Before-
words. No, stop.
Oh,
Yeah, and then you
before
gotta be
that.
like, before you say anything, it is my birthday.
I will understand if there is some surcharge for the skin thing. I get it. This poor 18-year-old girl who was like, it was either Build-A-Bear or OnlyFans, and she made the totally wrong decision.
Should have went with OnlyFans.
At least she'd be scarred in other ways. But the first movie we're talking about is, as I was saying, it was like, you know those the fake previews in the Grindhouse movies when you saw them in theaters?
Mhm.
This movie is basically an hour and a half of that. Now, I normally, and we talked a little about this earlier, I normally love Ty West films. We were talking about The Sacrament earlier, which is a movie I love. I normally enjoy his kind of deliberately slower pace. I didn't in this movie.
I've only seen, I
X.
think, VHS, this one, and he did 2 episodes of Wayward Pines, which was that TV show.
I believe
that
he might
movie.
have helped on ABC's of Death, but I'd have to.
Yeah.
I think he was in there. I feel like, what was the other one he was in? You're Next? Was that one of his? I want to say it is. Your Next is a good one, if you haven't seen that. That's one that has a great, slow, but deliberately slow pace that has a nice crescendo. You know, a movie's got a really good pace that really just kind of is, it's anticlimactic almost, but it's also really good, is, now I forgot the name of it.
So he didn't
That's
do.
that's the movie.
He didn't,
Now I forgot the name of it.
He didn't
Cabin
do
Fever too.
anything. He didn't do anything for Your Next, but he was in Your Next.
Okay. How dare
but-
this guy be an actor and director?
But let me let me start this off. So obviously the first movie we're doing is X. This is a new A24 film. For those of you who don't like A24, it's an acquired taste. So directed, written, produced by Ty West, who kind of disappeared from the horror for a while. And
Hold
then
on,
started
Lewis.
coming back.
Sean, I'm going to tell you right now, we don't do a podcast that caters to listener and watcher lighting demands. That's for fuck sure what we don't do. Proceed.
Get him out.
Get him out. No, I like
Is he,
Sean.
is he mad about my lighting?
Yeah, he was like, what is his comment? Are you doing a podcast from your closet? Did your mom say it was sleepy time and no more games before bed?
Well, my mom's dead, so now that joke's not funny, Sean.
Yeah, that's fucked up, Sean.
I disagree. It's funnier to me.
Yeah, so that's
Well,
You know,
technically, our
I'm-
mom is undead.
she is
If
undead.
you think
There's
just-
there's only 2 of us in this room.
Chocolate at you 2 guys.
There's only 2 of us. Yeah, There's only 2 of
John.
us in this room that can claim that and actually get the credit for it. So you guys
John,
are. I'm sorry.
I'm just joking. I have 2 dads. Anyways, yeah. So 24 film. It premiered at South by Southwest. It didn't really do big at the box office.
Because they were
um,
stoned and fell the fuck asleep.
That's true. But so let me just mention the brief cast. So you have Mia Goth, who Matt loves her as Pearl.
Yeah.
Jenna Ortega, who
We'll
was-
call her Trash Panda.
she recently was in the Scream remake. You have Scott. I'm just gonna say Kid. I'm not gonna say his real name. Martin Henderson, and
Kid
then
Cudi?
Owen Campbell. And then who's the chick from Pitch Perfect? Is that
Brittany
Brittany
Snow?
Snow? That's Brittany
Yeah.
Snow. Okay.
Which
yeah.
is a total porn star name. This movie's not a zombie movie. This one is more of a Texas Chainsaw-esque,
Meets the Peep Show.
you know, like
This is Texas
grindhouse
Chainsaw on
style.
Pornhub. That's what this is. It's
Peep
Texas
Show.
Yeah.
Chainsaw on Pornhub. Let's
Yeah, I
call it
just,
what
you
it
know,
is.
and I'm really not interested, like, in any nude scenes at all anymore. Unless it's like Avatar, because that would just be interesting to see what they
the
come up
nude
with.
scenes in this movie made sense.
Yeah, they weren't
because of what the
gratuitous
movie was
either.
about. Yeah, it wasn't crazy.
It was mainly just Brittany Snow.
That is true.
At
is
the
true.
beginning, yeah.
Also,
Well, there's only one other scene of nudity, and it's the Mia Goth chick. Unless you
Is-
count the old lady.
It is also
But that's
worth,
that was a suit, so technically she's not nude.
so they're
The old age
also
makeup was kind of weird.
it's also worth noting Ty West didn't just shoot this movie, he shot another movie along with it, and it's actually going to be the prequel. I don't know if
Oh.
that changes your
Oh, the
feelings
one
on
called
it.
Pearl.
Yeah,
Okay, so
Okay.
why is he doing that? What if
I don't know. I don't know.
you literally release them at the same? Here's what you do, because we want to. I mean, everything's got to be different, right? That's why he made this movie, which frankly is 30% nothing. Like Ty West movies in the past, the slow crawl makes sense. The angles make sense. This is literally an old woman for 4 minutes just feeling bad about herself as she undresses and redresses.
She did really good with her makeup, though. Her makeup skills.
Her performance
Her
is
makeup was on par.
the old hag performance is better than her normal self performance. I give her kudos for the old hag performance.
You know what's funny is
I
I look up the cast for the movie Pearl, and it's just got Mia Goth. She's the only cast that's on there listed so far.
It's already shot, so
I mean,
Oh,
here,
sure.
why didn't he just release some Grindhouse style then? Cut out. I mean, this movie was what, an hour and a half? Cut out 20 minutes, which you can easily do. Shorten the fuck scenes to, instead of 7 or 8 minutes, 3. Put them both together, or bring in another director to release the movie with them. Like, I don't understand why, because the problem with this movie is if you don't have that backstory, which I'm hoping does fill some cracks and make it not so goddamn goofy, because it's goofy without any other lore.
They could have also shortened all the walking scenes because
Every fucking time it's, I mean, the black dude goes down to the lake and it's 10 minutes where he's just like,
It was a little weird, yeah.
like, is Ty West behind the camera? Like, yes, you're
I
you're
think
kind of creeped out right now.
He
And he's
did.
just
He
like,
did put on his skivvies though, at least.
A good example of a long scene that could have been shortened was I believe her name is Mia Goth floating in the lake.
oh, I want, and I knew, and here's the other thing is, why
yeah.
was this movie so goddamn predictable? Like, that was the other thing is, like, he's normally, like, even in his movies that are predictable, there's some sort of, like, panache to it. The only kill I really liked in this movie was the goddamn alligator kill.
Yeah.
that was a good one.
But it was so heavily foreshadowed.
I do.
I like the neck stabbing one, the first one she did, only because she
Okay.
kept going.
That one was okay, so the kept going's okay, it's for gore factor. For me, I didn't appreciate the fact that, like, it was such a swift, quick movement that
Yeah, it was fast.
there's really
For a
no
old
time
person.
to delineate where the makeup is and where his neck is. Like, it was an awesomely well shot, because when she stabs him the first time, it's so fast, it's like, oh yeah, that's a blade in him. Like,
Why-
I appreciated that.
I think this movie did a good job of every time there was a kill, like it looked good and it was really
It
well
did.
done.
It was-
like,
they were
tight
very
and
well
quick.
I will say, like, I would have done them differently, some of them. Like, with the pitchfork, I think you would have had a much, much more impactful scene, is rather than, like, her going, stabbing her, and then she's on the ground and she just repeatedly does it, to you have her basically hit her and pin her up against the wall through the pitchfork. And then if you want, have her pull it out and have the body on the walls fall, and you have a whole blood streak leading with it. Because at that low angle, even when she's repeatedly stabbing it, it's like, you don't see the person. It's on a weird angle, so to you, it's just a prop she's stabbing. And for me, that broke immersion. There's a lot of little weird things in this that, like, I don't know. And maybe they were done on that way on purpose. Maybe the point was to kind of give it sort of that feel. But, like, I definitely was disappointed with this one. I really enjoyed Ty West, and this was just like, everything's fucking predictable. I called down to who's going to die when.
You didn't like when she started covering him with the hay.
I
To
did
hide
find
the
that a little
body.
bit funny.
That was funny.
Like, I also, there are scenes I found hilarious, and I don't know if that was the intention. I don't think so. We talked about it earlier. There is a moment where the girl goes running out of the doorway and is immediately
I'm outta here.
blasted with
Yeah.
the fucking shotgun.
And that comes out of nowhere.
And it's fucking hilarious. And then once again with the shotgun, the old lady uses it and gets jettisoned through the doorway. Like she got
Breaks
hit
her
by a
hip.
cannonball.
Now again, Matt, because I am not a gun guy, would she have blasted through the door?
Now I
was she,
have
like, 90
fired
pounds,
I
80
have
pounds?
fired a sawed-off variant or fairly close to sawed-off variant of one of those. It's like a coach shotgun, which we own. It kicks, man.
And that's a long nose.
That I mean, if she's not, let's say she doesn't have a grip on it, and it fired, and the right angle, it projected it into her, it wouldn't throw her that far back, but it would be enough to break her ribs and sternum.
I imagine it would set her off balance to where she'd fall over, but not Power Rangers fly.
Well,
Dude,
it
she's
depends. It
She
depends.
was really skinny.
It
She
depends
was-
on how she's holding it. Because I mean, if she looked to be like this, and if that goes, I mean, that's all
I thought
gone.
when she picked it up, it was like
Was that what?
literally
Okay,
That's
so
what I thought.
so
like yeah, I thought when she picked it up,
Okay,
I didn't
so-
think she was like
in reality, then she wouldn't fly back, but her entire front would be gone. Like she'd be dead.
oh.
Yeah, her shit would be crushed
She-
by the impact.
She went to another planet. She was gone.
Can you imagine if
Yeah.
like she blew out
And
the
she
door, just
broke her
kept
hip.
going? Just
It was
like-
all. It was almost like the Jumanji board was behind her, and they just beat the game, and it's just like she getting sucked into it. CM Punk is vacating his title. He's hurt. I don't want to talk wrestling, but frankly, he shouldn't be the fucking champion.
Let me just say this: he's not hurt. He's embarrassed because he fucking fell 3 times in 2 fucking days. Okay, I'm done with that.
How about this? When somebody says they're not about being in the company, they don't want to be the champion, and then they proceed, and it's all about the younger guys, despite them being paid in the millions for their contract, and then becoming the champion. Like, I'm sorry, but like he's not a real fighter. It was proven in his fucking UFC run, the little one he did. He's older at this point. Like, he might be a good comic book writer. I've never written or read any of his comic books, but
What did he do? Wolverine?
he's done some Marvel stuff. I know. I don't know
think
much
it was
about what he's
Wolverine.
done. It might be good, but frankly, like, I mean, kind of like Chris Jericho too needs to kind of fuck off. Like,
Well, at least he's
Yeah.
not fighting for a title anymore.
yeah, but it's like, how much TV time does Jericho get? Is it a 10-minute segment? Is it 15? Is it 20?
At some point, they're just going to be like, and now the wheelchair hour, where they bring out all their oldest wrestlers.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, and here's the thing. I don't really like MJF, which I think is the whole point of his character. You're not really supposed to like him. I think the fact that people do like him is swinging the wrong direction for how he wants his character to be taken. His last,
Supposedly
he had a
he's-
pipe bomb, and so
Yeah.
far they've removed him. He basically said he called Tony Khan a fucking mark because we
Which
just.
is- it's
I,
bad
I do
in
find that
wrestling
funny
terms.
too. It's like nobody who watches wrestling is like, what, a mark? Like, it was really? And but wrestling fans are like,
He
and
called him the
like,
N-word.
and normal people are like, what does that mean? Is mark a
Like-
bad thing?
Did he use a Sharpie?
So basically, yeah, it was this whole like pipe bomb moment where it was supposed to be all truth and it wasn't scripted, and they cut his mic.
His contract is
Um,
up in 2024. He wants to be fired. Yeah, all the bullshit.
Who the fuck knows? But he's the only one that's actually I'm sorry, AEW is overrated. Tony Khan is a blowhard. I like AEW. I think they need to like either figure out how to strengthen their younger guys so that the older guys can get the fuck out, or start siphoning off some of the youngish WWE people. Like, get the ones that are still in their fucking 20s, guys. You don't need 78-year-old Jericho and 42-year-old, or I'm sorry, 52-year-old CM Punk. Like, you don't need Gangrel straight off the IV drip, because I'm sure he's dehydrated. He looks like it.
Did you see the way he walked out?
Yeah, like a broken man, which is
His hip wouldn't take that step.
Like, why are they bringing in rickety bags of bones? Like, what is their fucking problem? Anyways, enough of that shit. Shut up, Fabian. No more CM Punk garbage. He's like, fight me. I might have a chance. I'm sorry. Your record's not great. And you're way older than me. I mean, I know I'm fat, but like, I mean,
I think I'm spending the night back here. I think they just locked me out.
but kick the fucking door in.
I
You know
got
what the
keys to
real
front door.
you know what the real problem here is? If they were supporting you at all and watching the podcast, they would hear right fucking now that you're locked out and they'd come and unlock it. But they ain't. So they won't.
No, here's what I texted them this, please lock or close the back door. And as they closed the door, I heard the lock and I looked up and they're smiling at me. My wife was smiling at me as she's locking the door.
Holding a knife.
My point still
Yeah.
stands.
we're gonna get later on in this episode, and we're gonna be like, Alex, what's wrong? He's like, my wife is pouring gasoline in the kitchen.
When should I be alarmed, guy? Well, you have an
Her and
exit
the
back
kids
there,
are
don't
walking
you?
out the front door with luggage.
Well, don't you have an exit back there?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he
I got it.
turns around, it's boarded up.
What the fuck? While you were with Daryl. All right,
So
back.
I-
Yeah.
Yeah, I do want to mention, so it's like blatantly obvious that this movie is kind of an homage or sort of quasi inspired by Texas Chainsaw, that kind of vibe.
I'd argue almost a Hills Have Eyes type of thing to
Yeah.
it.
But they're also not taking it serious. Like they are doing it in jest. Because there was nothing to really be taken serious in this movie.
The problem is
What are you talking about? They murdered like everybody.
the problem is when I watch a horror movie that doesn't involve like a supernatural element, I just hear Matt like repeating in my head, like, because Matt's reasoning with Chucky is that he would just yeet
Just
his
kick
ass
him.
off the building.
Yeah.
So in my head,
Prove me
horror movies-
wrong. Why
horror
does it?
movies-
How are we getting stabbed from the ankles and then letting the little doll crawl up us with his little fucking Ginsu knives? Like,
So
rip his
now,
stuffed head off. Fuck
because
him.
Because of Matt, I can't enjoy horror movies because in my head I replace the main character with Matt, and I just see him tackling this old lady and clubbing her to death, and then going after the husband.
The moment she hugged me would have been a get off me, bitch. This is the 70s. I'm not nice at that point. It's still the Wild West in civilization as far as I'm regarding. If some old bag hugged me like that, she's getting pushed at least away.
So she wasn't showing any threat at that time when she was giving him the
Now,
hug.
don't fucking touch me.
Yeah,
Everyone's
yeah,
a
but
fucking
you-
threat.
You wouldn't have been like, man, please don't do that. I understand.
No,
that,
it's
you know,
I
already
would- it
creepy
would
that,
have-
like
it-
you're getting in the vehicle in the middle of the night and you.
Why
turn the
is
corner,
she
she's just
awake?
Standing there, yeah. Why is she out there? Like,
Well,
I
first
wouldn't
of
even
all,
gotten out of the.
Where
vehicle.
is your fucking
That
husband?
part, yes. If I was in the van and I drove up and I saw an old lady standing there, I'd be like, ma'am, can you please move out of the way?
First off, hold
I
on.
wouldn't have got out.
Let's rewind to what led to this fucking
Oh.
beta getting into this situation. So they're filming a pornographic movie, and his girlfriend is the boom mic op. I mean, like, what the? That's such a weird and fucking job for her to have on top of it, like a boom mic. Anyways, fuck needs boom
Well,
mics
she's
in
being
porn.
helpful to him, but she didn't know what he was shooting.
Really? I think the moment they started fucking, she did.
Well, yeah, she figured out then because at first she was like, "What's going on?" She's like, "I didn't think this was going to happen."
So she wants to be in on it. She wants to get dick down, as the kids say. And
Like Kid Cudi.
all the cool kids I hang with.
You should really look up in the Urban Dictionary what the phrase
I
"dick
just-
down."
I just
means.
picture in a non-creepy way Matt Park. He's going up to kids like, "Hey, you want to be my friend? Hey, you want to be my friend?"
What do you guys say, huh? Well, I'm just for no reason doing the 20s voice. What have you? Who the fuck is this asshole? Aha! You're a funny one. What you say? Nothing.
So, Giovanni, Urban Dictionary: to get fucked, good and hard all night long.
Appropriate usage. So
Man, can you clip Alex saying that and just
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm gonna create a song out of Alex.
Please do.
auto-tune?
Congratulations.
Just auto tune it. They don't know it's my voice.
I don't. Man, that
Oh,
auto
and
tune's
then
fucking expensive.
clip the part where after. So clip the part where he defines it, and then the part after I'm like, yes, do it. And just put those together and add a beat to it. You'd be fine.
Sure. Yeah, that won't get us banned in Uruguay. I don't know why, but Uruguay of all places is gonna ban us. What the fuck were we talking about?
Why
the beta-
she was out there and
yeah.
why
Yeah, the whole like she would have never
Trying to
gotten
get
close
dick down.
enough to me to hug me. Like, and I'm not even joking. This is a true story. On the north side, on Addison, where the GameStop and Target is, that plaza. There's a dollar. Used to be a Dollar Tree, and I don't know if it's still there. I assume it is.
It is.
There was
Yes,
there was a woman, right, who had I assume fallen, and she looked frail. I would not pick her up.
I knew this was going there.
So you didn't help her? This is real?
I
In
fuck
her
you, Jen.
head-
You're not. You know the truth. You could be supporting me, and she's like, she was mad at you about it too, because wouldn't she was on the fucking
Was-
floor.
Was she listening to a cassette player that was playing Bonnie Tyler's "I Need a Hero" and the strong man just doesn't pick her
Well,
up?
no, the problem
Just
was
walk
she
away.
was
Kept
just a
insisting
giant
to pick her up.
racist, and I said it's not good enough for me not to be racist. I have to be anti-racist. No, I didn't like want to hurt her and then like be liable. Like, and I told her even, I was like, ma'am, I would pick you up. Because I attempted initially, and she was just dead fucking weight.
Can you imagine somebody's like, Matt's like, call for help, and she's like, sir, just help me. I don't want to touch you. Call for help.
Well, no,
And
we
she's
wait.
sitting in a puddle of water. Just help me get out of this cold water.
Well, no, right? And then, but the paramedics, and I told her, I was like, ma'am, because I tried once, and like, she just wasn't having it. And I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, fuck that, frankly. Like, I'm not like, we waited, we called when the paramedics came and picked her up in a fucking unique way to like avoid it, that I fucking would have just been like, get up, you bitch. Like, I would have just hoisted her. I wouldn't have had any fucking, like, like if you want me to lift her up, you're just pounds. I will lift you. But like, you want to be lifted up without injury where I don't get fucking sued, let the paramedics do it.
The paramedics
put
like,
a neck
why'd
brace
you
on her and
lift
everything?
up by her legs? What is wrong with
And by the hair.
Matt's holding her by one leg and shit, just holding her upside down.
Just dragging her. But yeah, like, yeah, I do. Like, I don't know. I don't really feel bad. Like, I don't want to be like, if I go to lift her, right, and something pops,
Vet said, so X is not worth a watch.
I'd watch it.
We're not
I-
even talking about X.
Worth a
We're,
watch.
we're talking about Matt, the anti-hero.
That's not true. No, if it was like some dude beating the shit out of his kid or or his like wife in the front of the Dollar Tree, then sure, I'll fucking step in and handle business. But like,
Why's it got to be a Dollar Tree?
because that's where it was.
GameStop?
She fell in front of a Dollar Tree. You want me to say?
In my head, I picture it like a Mr. Bean situation, like Matt was doing something and wasn't aware that he knocked her off. She got run over by a car, and he turns around and he's like, "Oh my god, something happened."
Just walk away.
Oh my god.
But X is worth watching. It's not.
I have issues with it,
It's worth
but
watching.
totally worth a watch, especially if you like. I mean, the horror genre is a little bit in like a dry spot right now. There isn't a whole lot
It
of
is,
quality
yeah.
horror movies coming out at the moment in any scene, really.
The only thing is, though, it does take almost an hour before you finally see your first kill, I think. Was it?
46 minutes, and I
Was
only
it
know
46?
because that's where I stopped, and I
Yeah.
had to watch it today to finish it. 46 minutes in,
So
first
it does-
kill.
I mean,
it
that's
does
way
take a
too
while.
much.
To me, that's
But you
not
still have
a
an hour left.
problem if you know what to do with those 46 minutes.
Yeah,
And I
but
feel like
yeah,
that's
there
what
was
they did in
there was no tension built in those minutes. It was all about
Yeah.
the guy wanting to make a porn and the main girl's story. There was nothing at all to build tension. There wasn't any like creepy stop off. There wasn't any like fucking person in the neighborhood. There was, you know, the one foreshadowing that you get, which is really quickly seen, is the missing posters.
Yeah.
Like, but that's about it as far as the first majority of the movie.
So
I think
what-
in most of the movie, I can handle the pacing. I thought it was a good story, but we were talking before the podcast started, and to Anthony's point, I think one of the big issues is that there are scenes that overstay their welcome.
Yeah, a
Like
lot.
they should have finished quicker, and I think if you would have cut those scenes a little bit quicker, it probably would have had a different
like
feel to it.
like Kid Cudi standing at the door and getting the light right behind him at the perfect time, and then you just see his schlong like just hanging there in the middle.
That was a pretty funny scene, actually.
That was funny. That was hilarious.
I'm always for a funny dick shot.
So-
I'm not gonna.
I watched this one with my wife. The other one she would not even watch with me. She covered her face the whole time.
That's because
Oh, I wonder why.
she's got
But-
class.
But the first 46 minutes of this movie, I kept getting yelled at to turn the volume down because she didn't want the neighbors to think that we were watching a porn. I'm like, it's at fucking 8. I was like,
Heaven
"Don't break down
forbid
your
they'll
doors.
think you've
Can't
put the
hear."
beds together.
When I was watching this movie, because I listen to the TV loud, so it was like at like 55. My wife walks in, the neighbors walk behind her. They're like, "What is he watching?" And she shuts the door real quick. She says, "What are you watching?" like, it's a horror movie.
I'm cranking my
Did she call
fuck
you by your
stick.
first and middle name? Your first and middle name, or did she just call you by your name?
No, she didn't even say my name. She's
No.
like, "What are you watching?"
I was watching it in the morning because I had time before Arma stream, and I was like, all right, fuck it. I was a little worried that like Tim's work fellas were gonna be like, what the fuck is going on in your house?
Tim would have came down like, "Hey, Matt, oh, what's going on here?"
I'm not gonna lie, dude. I fast forwarded through like the first, I don't know, portion of the sex scenes because like nothing was happening but them fucking. Like I like, and it wasn't
pretty quick.
It was. I don't know, the one where like I don't know, the second one maybe where they're in the farmhouse
barn?
finally. Not the barn, the one where they're in the farmhouse. There's that scene, but then there's the connecting scene of after the scene when the camera gear is being put away, and
Oh, and
she
tosses the red.
Oh yeah.
like the fake orgasm, and it's like they did have a roll in the hey $5, and yeah, I don't know, man. There's just a lot of drawn out shit in this movie for no reason. And also the story's it's goofy.
It
Here's
did have
the-
a lot of good music though.
No, the movie's great for a soundtrack. Cinematography's decent. The gore is nice. But here's the main flaw. The story's goofy as fuck. The story is these people get in a van because he says the property taxes are so high that people will take money to allow them to film. First stupidity. And then when you watch the movie, you realize the entire story is this old woman feels old, is old, yet she's horny. Her husband is old, can't fuck because of a bad heart. So they kidnap passerbys, chain them up, and she rapes them. That's essentially the story.
And he's a veteran of both wars.
The problem is here she gets triggered, and she actually wants the girl and the one guy because of the girl's beauty. She's I mean, she tells Brittany Snow, like, there's this, okay, I really do like the scene where Brittany Snow dies, because not only does she get eaten by a fucking alligator, which is random as fuck, but
Just random.
the woman goes from, like, she's shivering, and then she's like, how dare you prance around in front of me like that, you whore. And it's just fucking funny, and Brittany Snow's like,
She even
excuse
slaps her. She
me!
even slaps her, doesn't she?
Yeah,
she smacks her.
I found that, and that's the problem with this movie, is the enjoyable scenes are funny scenes. I don't think that was the intention here, really. I don't think this was meant to be a comedy.
I don't know. I think there was. It wasn't that. It wasn't supposed to be taken that serious.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
I
don't know.
I took it as it was kind of playing on the Texas Chainsaw, like wacky old school vibe. But again,
Wacky wasn't.
for-
Texas Chainsaw wasn't funny though.
no,
Well,
no, no,
the-
like making not making fun of, but like the homage of like.
Well, I think if you had more
Uh,
family,
You didn't.
the problem is you got two old bags doing it all, and it's like you
Yeah.
do like literally one of them you can blow on and she falls over.
Which Texas Chainsaw is that? Is that the one with Dennis Hopper where the grandpa has the hammer
I think it's number
And he
2,
tries
isn't
to-
it?
and he tries to hit her in the head and he fucking drops the hammer? You didn't find that shit
That might
funny?
be number 4. Yeah, but that's like number 4. It's a terrible movie.
Was that with Dennis Hopper?
It's either 2
Dennis
or
Hopper
4.
with
I
the
think
hanger-
Matthew
with the hanger?
McConaughey was number 2.
The guy with the hanger?
Matthew McConaughey's New Generation. Dennis Hopper is in the second one.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. I mean, you really think Texas Chainsaw 2 isn't taken as the first one is?
I wish
No, two different movies.
Yeah. Garbage and not garbage.
in this movie it did lack something that most horror movies have. It's where one of the characters, whether they survive or not, at a point in the movie, discover a section in the killer's home or killer's area where basically it explains everything.
Yeah.
The lore,
Well,
the history, the breakdown. Like
you
I
don't-
would have loved
you
that.
don't
To
need that
go
'cause
find
you-
the flashlight.
You don't need that because you had an awkward elderly sex scene that explains everything.
I think that's what kind of I don't know if that's what Ty was aiming for, of like this is gonna be different because there's not gonna be an exposition dump. You're just gonna be like weirded. Like it's just kind of weird. Like
How old
something
is
that-
elderly? What would you guys say?
Ancient 80s,
In
70s?
late 80s, early 90s?
Yeah, because he's in World War I and II at the time of
Talking,
the 70s,
Yeah.
Biden-ish.
and he's old.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We're at threat level Biden.
Threat level Biden. He's
What?
probably just
Ice
about
cream
as old
doesn't
as
have
Biden.
bones.
but has it more together. I would vote for this guy as president. Let me just put it this way.
So
I mean, he's a
Jen,
mean
Jen,
son of a
did you see
bitch
X
at
with you?
least. What's that?
Jen did not watch X with you
No.
because she says,
Oh, really?
"Ooh, 80 years old." My wife said the same thing. She goes, "Why are they showing?" She goes, "This is disgusting. Why are they showing two old people having sex?" And I'm like,
Why?
Well,
Why
I'm
I'm
can't
like,
they-
you and I
see-
are going to be
can't-
old someday.
Jed, but that's the whole point of the character, is literally they kidnap young, mainly black men, and she rapes them because he cannot get an erection due to having a bad heart. And so then towards the end of the movie, she's like, "Tell me you love me." And he's like, basically like, "Oh, I guess this is how I'm gonna die." And there's a disgusting elderly sex scene, and the one girl is trapped under the beds trying to escape. So we get to it. You basically just sit there as it happens to you.
There's an
Mhm.
there's an overview shot of his ass fucking just going to town.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Maybe part of it might be the subject matter. I honestly don't give any fucks about people trying to make a porno, unless it's Zach and Mary. All that loot. Yeah, it literally, and they do I mean, makeup design in this movie is great.
Mhm.
They do a good job of
did look
unsexifying
leathery.
Mia Goth. But yeah, man, I don't know. I'm disappointed with this movie entirely. Between the goofy ass fucking story, and I mean, maybe when the prequel releases, and they connect in a decent way, cool. But if not, like, there's a lot of like 45 minutes before anything really major happens, and then even in between the major scenes and the deaths and the kills, a lot of just angles, which Ty West, I assume, are like, yeah, no, man, this is artistic, and it's like, but this isn't. You know what's artistic in this type of movie? Drone shots.
And his assistant was like, "No, this is autistic."
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
I was like, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
It's not artistic.
like
it's
I mean,
autistic.
can you imagine like a shot that shouldn't be in one of these movies, but is like a drone shot? Like, do a technological shot under the mask with the filters and everything that you had applied, and if you do it right, you are remixing old and new school. You're doing a fusion. If done right, you can do great artistry. And you know what? They did it. That's right. They did do a drone shot. They did one, and it was the crocodile.
Yeah,
Why
over the
wasn't
lake? Yeah.
Why
the lake
wasn't there
shot.
more of that? Also, when the van first starts to drive on the highway, why wasn't there more of that?
Why didn't they try to find a way to show the cow getting fucking myrtleized by the fucking semi?
Also, what the fuck is the point of the entire sheriff's arc? What does he do in this movie?
I thought he was.
he
part of
watches the
whole
porno
thing
afterwards.
until
No, but seriously, you have 10 minutes of sheriff just
This is one sick.
and the
horror
one deputy asked the question we were all asking in our head, you know, like what went on here? And he said, how the fuck would I know? Like
that's how his arc ends. Like, I fuck if I know, bro.
he didn't know anything.
The whole cow scene, what's the point of the cow scene? Like, I guess my
I have no
question and
idea.
a lot of the shit I don't like is like, why? Because I hate when I watch movies like this, because then I think in my head, oh, this is how I would have done this, and this is how I would have done this. And when my movie is way better than what I'm watching, it's a fucking problem.
This movie definitely could have been an hour and a half instead of an hour and 46.
It could have been an hour and 20.
Yeah, well, yeah, if you cut out the walking too, and then the cow.
The entire sheriff until the end. Why does he need the beginning scenes? Like, what is the point? Just to show that, like, oh, it's not, you know, it's not just happenstance. Like, we were made to meet, like, because we met before. Like, what?
To me, those scenes almost felt like he was trying to be like a cool Tarantino, where it's like cool shot with witty dialogue.
But
Yeah,
there isn't
drawn
any.
out.
No witty
There's no-
dialogue.
there's no substance.
Yeah, he doesn't say anything.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I
Weird.
just, like, I don't fully hate this movie, but, like, because of how much I like the other Ty West movies, I think, like, this is lackluster. I think it should get points because it's his most violent movie to date. It's nice to see him back in the somewhat horror genre. But that's the other thing is, like, Lewis is right. How am I supposed to be scared of some old fucking bag? Like, if the old dude's got the shotgun on me, sure, I'm not gonna, you know, okay, but, like, really? Like, and by the way, how Are these people, you can't hear some old woman walking in fucking hay behind you?
No, because she drank her Ovaltine. She's
Yeah, Solid Snake taught her. I forgot.
Don't forget, drink your Ovaltine.
Like, there's just, I don't know, there's a lot of shit in this movie. Like, I'm okay with, like, ignoring certain things, but when I have to ignore more and more of them, and I have to sit through more and more drawn out walking scenes, and more just, like, I know a death is coming, and I gotta wait fucking 10 minutes till it gets there. It's frustrating, because it's just like, cut out some of the tits, cut out the sheriff arc, cut out the fucking somewhat at least of the nothing scenes, then connect it to the prequel, release it together, release it. People are still kind of COVID crazy. Release it exclusively in drive-ins. It's the summer. Do a double feature, both of your movies, and then put it in theaters. But I mean, like, but the thing, I mean, it wasn't in theaters for very long. Didn't do well. Like, there's things you could have done. And I don't know.
What was the budget?
I couldn't find a budget. It was very indie.
Shot on iPhone 13.
Yeah, because 13 million versus how much? I mean, what was the budget?
I mean, it's a A24 film. They don't really make movies for big returns on box office. But I mean, it did pretty well. It had a lot of buzz, but
do you think he pulled like all these actors from the SAG? Because SAG, you have to do like so many indie films and take a pay cut. Because why else would Britney Snow fucking be in there?
I mean, what else was she doing?
I think he pulled them from the far past their prime. Like what I did there.
Well, he got the younger chick because she's kind of making the rounds in a bunch of horror movies.
She's a quote unquote scream queen of our generation.
Yeah.
Why? Because of her freckle face? The fuck out of here. I did like the end twist where she's the preacher's daughter that's on TV.
Yeah,
very Twilight Zone. Cool. I dug that.
So what are they gonna do with the prequel? Is she a previous killer? Is she done weird shit before? Like I
think the whole thing is she ran off with her boyfriend.
Because the old lady says something that she was whatever, like
she was clearly sheltered, and he was clearly a heavy an extremist. He was basically a religious extremist.
My issue is I don't like knowing that these were shot back to back because you just release the first movie and make the story good enough to lead into the second. Like,
so I think this movie,
but it's going to go backwards.
With the whole preacher is meant to be an anti-religious thing, and I find that hilarious because realistically, this movie's own actions proves the crazy extremist notions. Because had she not have run away with her porno friends, had she not gone to that farm, she would not have experienced that. So technically speaking, had she still been at home under his roof, she would be alive.
I'm assuming the prequel is going to involve like maybe crazy evangelicals killing people, and maybe that's why she ran away. Like I don't like knowing that a prequel was shot along with this.
Yeah,
movie.
If a prequel was shot along with the movie, then the prequel should have been released first.
It's like
I'm telling you, release them at the same time. You cut a lot of the fat out of this. You make 2 hour, 20-minute long movies. You do it Grindhouse style, because then when it releases, you're literally only looking at 240 minutes of footage in a movie, and you separate them by 2 of them. Like, I mean, if they were smart, they would have brought in their friend directors of other horror movies, like guys from the VHS series and shit. They've done a couple fake Grindhouse trailers, making it an experience. Because as is, it's not. Like, and that's I agree with Lewis. Why, if there's lore, because it's not just a prequel movie, there's lore, presumably, to any or all of the characters. So to not have that, does anybody give a fuck about any of these people? Ever? None.
No, which is why I'm thinking X was released, because the material in Pearl is probably not good enough that people would want to see X headed. Like, that's what worried me.
I mean, he won't go this way, because I know everything and he doesn't. But like, if you're going prequel, right? Why don't you go back to, if it's about Pearl, I don't know what he's doing with it, but it would be a cool concept if he took it back to what's up, Nikki? Thank you. 9 months. Ooh, you better be. She's due.
Nikki's on a roll.
Yeah.
It was with Mike with what, almost 5 years.
Oh God, yeah, she's been with Mike a long time. Cute couple
I'm
them
gonna
too.
leave him.
Get him out. What was I fucking saying? Oh, you take it back to when she's in her late teens, 17,
Okay.
18. She's a crazy psychopathic murderer.
And that's for Pearl, right?
For Pearl. She's ripping up men. No, never gets caught. And then you end her movie. You either do flash, you can do back and forth if you want to do present day and then past. But the past scenes need to end with her meeting her husband.
With a broken hip.
Well, meeting her husband and then continuing the killing. Like, if you're going to build lore, do it that way. And if they don't, am I seriously supposed to sit through another hour and 45 minutes to this fucking sag body just murdering people? Not interested.
Yeah, is it going to be Pearl young or Pearl old?
If they do it young and they make her like a psychopath and they do the whole story about her, and then at the end of her story in the past they connect her with the husband who's also a fucking psycho. Although he didn't seem all that crazy to me in this movie.
Didn't
No.
she say she met him as a kid? Like they were like young lovers.
I thought it was post-war. Oh no, he was in wars. I don't know, maybe.
He
So
went
maybe
to both
you show
wars.
their story. Maybe they're both psychotic
And
murderers.
maybe his heart became weak before he was even old. So maybe he was just a young guy with a weak heart.
Okay, so I mean, here's the thing. Then maybe
So he
maybe she's crazy. She's doing it all, and then when he comes back from World War II or World War One, he's just as, if not as fucked up as she is. But once again, in X, he doesn't seem all that crazy. He just seems dedicated to his goofy fucking wife.
Yeah.
This kind of
That's the way I
sounds
took
like
it.
Nothing But Trouble in a way.
No,
Because because you find the cars hidden in the swamp.
no.
See, but I like the ideas you guys are giving. The problem is this movie has so much dead air that it doesn't give me a reason to want to see more of these two killers. Like,
Well, yeah, you don't like
spent some of that time giving me a little bit of exposition.
You don't like any of the main characters. You don't like the bad guys. You don't like who are supposed to be the good guys. You don't like the scenery's bland. Like, there's not a whole lot in this movie for me to root for because they don't give you anything to root for. It's kind of like I was just rooting for people to die. I was like, can we get to the next kill scene? And like, I don't normally with his movies, it's not even about kill scenes. It's about the tension.
I think RJ was onto something about making his porn into like a big cinematic universe.
The MCU of 70s porn.
One dog? What does that mean?
fucking
One
dick.
dog?
That guy was weird.
One hot
That's
dog.
that's asking if it's gonna be one dog.
No. I think no. I mean, I'm ready to give mine if you guys are. I'll show you mine if you show me yours.
I will go.
Yeah, go
I'll
ahead.
go first, real quick. So I like this movie.
5.
I would recommend, like, if it's streaming, check it out. Especially for the cool kills. Ty West is a good director.
Yeah. And this is probably his most violent movie.
Subscribe to Shudder. It's worth it.
Yeah,
Just Shudder
like,
alone, at least.
like I wouldn't go out of your way to see this movie, but when it's streaming, definitely check it out. It's unique in its own way. But we're talking about it so much because it could have done a lot more. It's not a terrible movie, but it could, especially from Ty West, it could have done a lot more. But for me, this is probably 2.5 granny dogs out of 5. Yeah, if it's streaming, definitely check it out. It's got some cool kills.
Go ahead, somebody.
All right, I'll go next. For
Giovanni.
me, I'm gonna go with 2 leather dogs.
Oh no.
The ones that you leave on the grill for a little, too long, and then you turn off the heat and you close the grill and they get leathery.
Why would you do that to hot dogs?
Are you
Because
intentionally doing that?
Because you forget about it.
Just ruining life for no reason.
You forget about it. I don't eat the hot dogs. I cook them for everybody else, and then
You don't like
then
hot
grab 'em, I
dogs?
close the top. I do. I don't like them on the grill.
What?
That's
No,
the
I
best way to make them.
I like mine boiled.
I like them
boiled
boiled.
What are
and
you
then
doing
fried
boiling?
just a
You
little bit.
used to be a
Fry 'em
chef.
just a
What are you
little
doing boiling hot dogs? You get a fucking
Dude.
steamer pan.
You guys are both.
Well, I don't have a steamer. I can't fit a steamer pan in here.
It's just it's a fucking normal pan with the fucking metal thing on top and a lid.
Air fry it next time.
Oh, they
Oh,
are
now
pretty
I have an
good.
air fryer,
They are
I
pretty
now have
good.
air fryer.
You put your
Just
hot
put little
dogs
slices.
in the bathroom sink. You just let the water
Hot
get
water
hot,
on?
and that's disgusting.
You still boil them? Get with the times. I do mine in my bidet.
What's your
In my
secret,
bidet.
Oh god. This movie was just a fun fucking horror movie to watch, and it was just, you didn't have to really pay attention. And,
What?
no, it's like a mindless thing. You can watch it, but you don't have to be all like, oh my god, wait, go back again. I
You
wanna
can
see what
turn your
happened.
brain off, I think was what you meant.
Is that
That's-
the
that's- you can
translation?
watch
Because
it
Yeah,
and
Because
turn
what
your
he
brain
said
off.
was you can watch it without paying attention to it at all. Like,
Well,
it's
no,
one of
but
those
you don't have
movies
to
that
really follow
you
the
put it in the
story.
fucking background, and then when you hear some shit,
I think that's what you mean. You could turn your brain off.
You can
Yeah,
turn
you
your
don't
brain
have to
off.
follow the story 100%. You're watching it for the gore, and you're watching it for
Listen,
for all
guys,
the other shit.
It took us a while, but we got there.
and for your reasons of why you like it or why I don't. But go on. Oh,
But it was fun. It was fun to hear my wife complain about how disgusting it was to watch two old people have sex, and it made me laugh through most of it. But I had fun. I think that's what it was. I had fun watching my wife squirm watching it,
You know
and
what?
forcing me to turn down the volume.
You guys are making fun of the old people. I say good on them. They
Exactly.
still got
I
it
say the
going.
same thing.
Okay, so I just want to point out Alex is continuing his trend of extenuating circumstances for either heightening or hurting a movie. In this case, his wife squirming makes him like the movie.
Alex likes to twist the knife.
He's just like, the movie itself, I didn't really watch the movie. It was on in the background. I was watching her. Good movie though. Have fun.
I feel like Alex, when it's movie night and he gets to pick the movie, he's like, "What am I gonna pick that's gonna?"
Nikki,
light
how
up
do you do your hot dogs,
I
Nikki,
don't
besides
get
the
to pick.
grill?
I don't get to pick
Why not?
because they won't watch it. Everybody falls asleep, so I just let them do it, and then I fucking
Well,
wait till they
stop
fall asleep.
picking Toxic Avenger, and then they'll watch whatever movie you put.
Nobody wants to
I
watch
never watched it.
Bone Tomahawk.
I do like Toxic Avenger.
I watched Toxic Avenger in front of Grandma. It was a weird.
Yeah. A blind naked chick running around with her boobs. Ah!
Yeah, it
I
was
remember
weird.
that.
Really weird.
What's your
Anyway.
score?
Honey,
No, what's your score?
You didn't
What's
give
your
us
score?
your
I
hot
said at the
dog.
beginning too.
Oh, two.
Okay.
Oh, Joker. This I did like this movie. It's a 2.5 for me as well. It does draw out a little long, and I think the scenes where they should have been cut short definitely overstay their welcome. I wanted more lore. Like it was. I think what makes it goofy is that it doesn't do very well in the background of this couple. You just know that she clearly has a problem. He's doing it because he loves her but can't provide for her in the way that she wants. And she just wants to, she wants to scratch that itch. This is also one of the few horror
Clean my
movies
pipes, Howard.
or scary movies that, that's so disturbing. That I don't think the sex was out of place here. So I know some horror movies just throw it in there just to throw it in there, and I think the only ones who ever did that really well were the Tales from the Crypt movies. They threw in sex, and it was like, oh, okay, yeah, it's a Tales from the Crypt movie, that makes sense. But here, it wasn't distasteful in the nature of what it was. You know what I mean? They were clearly there to make a porno. She has sexual issues, so it is what it is. But there was a lot of dead air in this movie that could have been filled with more stuff, more story.
Less elderly sex. I mean, it
Well,
was
those
like a
only
5-minute
ones.
fucking scene.
It was a long scene. But 2.5 for me.
I'm gonna give this a 1 times 1 to the first power. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 1.
So Vet was right. One dog.
I thought about it, and yeah, I don't know. Like, the fact that the scenes I like in the movie were funny or made me laugh. And the other problem is it was very, I mean, I called everything that was going to happen. It was very predictable. Very boring for the first half of the movie, and then, like I said, even with the kill scenes, you get a lot of in between of like just fucking nothing. And then you couple that with the goofy ass story of she's horny, he's old, so they kill people so she can, or they capture people so she can fuck them. That's the movie in a nutshell. And then you've got, I mean, let's be real. Is there 45 minutes worth of story for these characters before anything happens? Like
Not really.
you don't know
I think-
shit about Mia Goth till the very end of the movie, nor do you ever learn anything
She
about any
likes
other
Coke.
movie.
She likes Coke.
You had said 120 minutes, and I think that would have been the sweet spot for like, I mean, that.
Yeah, an hour and 20, and then you can still do, if you want, release the prequel with it. Release the prequel. I mean, I don't know, man. I feel like he shot one movie and then was like, we're gonna break them up in two.
I thought you were going a different direction. He shot his load. I was like, what?
No.
A porno?
It's worth a watch. I don't know. The more I think about it, the more I dislike it, and it's mainly because I'm a fan of Ty West. It's like I said, he gets points because it's his most violent, probably his most just stupid fucking story. Frankly, I don't know why you would build an entire horror movie where the villain is two elderly people who can't fuck.
I do have a question.
No.
How did Howard get the flashlight in the water where Kid Cudi had to go get the flashlight? But then when he came out, he was dry. The old man was dry.
I think he just chucked it.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
Or it was done already and he was just
it
waiting for
landed-
him.
It landed properly to point. Yeah. In
I
the
mean, he was in the
cattails.
army.
Once again, it takes 6 hours to get to that scene, so he could have done it way earlier and just sat by waiting. Kid Cudi is in it.
Yes,
Yeah,
Kid Cudi's in here.
he plays the bucking bronco.
This guy right here.
Yep,
He
the
is,
fro.
he is got a hog on him.
And
Where's
his-
my
and his-
super
and his
suit?
shit- His shit is about this big in the movie. It's almost to his knees when you see the silhouette of him.
It reminds me of Always Sunny in
No, no, hold
Philadelphia,
on,
where
let's-
they want to see more penis
Let's
in that movie.
let's let
Every time
let's
they bring up the movie,
let's let Alex keep digging himself into this weird penis hole. I want to focus on this for a little bit. Anything else
There's no
about
penis hole to dig into.
anything else about Kid Cudi's penis in this movie, Alex?
No.
All right. I
does
don't know
his
why, but
job.
the one after the other, I was just like, he really focused on that thing. I don't even remember
it was
what
waving
scene
in the wind.
you saw it. I don't remember if I saw that.
It's
Might have
a
been looking at my
silhouette
phone.
scene.
yeah, it's a silhouette scene
Yeah, it
where he's
is.
standing.
He's talking to
old
Howard.
man.
He's talking to Howard at the door.
Oh.
Yeah, and he's like, "Do you need help?" And the old man's
Oh
like,
yeah.
yeah." And
Yeah.
he's like, "I'm gonna go get my knickers."
He's like, I'm gonna get my skivvies.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with one before it goes any lower. You guys need a break? You want to go to the next one?
We can jump in. Let me just grab a Band-Aid real quick.
What the fuck
we can
happened
just
to
What
you?
do you
continue
need a
filming.
Band-Aid for?
I pinched my finger and it's bleeding, and I'm like, I don't know why it's bleeding. I don't know where I
Okay.
pinched it. So I just want to bleed on my laptop.
Okay.
So I'll be right back. Darkness.
Now, during the video that you do later,
Gold for
put his video of him eating the chips down there at the bottom. And just us talking.
Well, so while he's gone, I can mention, or no, fuck it. While he's gone, what have you guys watched this week? That's been watching anything? I started the first episode of The Boys season 3.
Oh, cool.
There's a kill in it that you're just like, yep, they're back. It's really good.
Oh,
so
I
far.
gotta start that then.
Good.
Yeah, it sucks that Butcher dies at the end of the season.
I've got a.
I haven't finished it. I have no idea.
I started what's Seth MacFarlane's shit.
Yeah, we were gonna watch
Or-
it, and then Jen fell
Orville?
asleep because she's got sleep stuff.
So
I thought that show got canceled. I didn't.
it
know.
did on Fox.
Yeah, well, yeah.
okay.
The way Seth MacFarlane talks about it, he was so glad he's away from Fox, and he's right. He was like, it's basically become like, so you think you can dance and all that weird shit.
Yeah.
He's right. It's
So-
nothing but game shows and fucking Wipeout shit.
I started the new
Oh.
episode of the Orville and I watched that. And then
How was
I
it?
got halfway through and I was like, wait a minute. I had to go back to the previous season and watch the last 2 episodes
Is it streaming?
because I forgot. 'cause
Hulu.
It's been about how many? It's been about a year and a half.
What a
that we've been
while.
waiting. But I had to refresh myself because I forgot. And then when I started, I was like, oh, okay, now I get it.
Yeah, it's been a long. It's been at least a year and a half.
So when it started out, it actually was continuing. I thought they changed something.
No, they just
So,
went straight
but
on.
they didn't. They kept with the story. It's just been so long since I saw it, but I liked it. I liked what I saw. And
Yeah,
they-
Jen
they
and I
do-
can't wait till we finish it, or we get into that, and then Stranger Things we're in. We have to. We're finishing. We're at the season 7 in The Office. Holly is now back, so Michael will be going soon because that bitch takes him.
It's getting sad. You just feel it coming on.
they-
I don't know,
they
man.
paid-
I still maintain that I think The Office, minus when Andy is the manager, is still amazing. Those episodes when he's a manager, where they try to like keep the cringe, but it's doesn't work the same. Jen, 2 Night Stand and That Awkward Moment are movies you should watch loudly when I'm trying to play games at night online.
Hey Matt, they did pay homage to what's his name, Norm Macdonald.
I saw that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
forget.
kinda cool.
I thought he died in 2022. I didn't realize he's been dead. He died in 2021. Fucking
But
years are just blending.
I started
they still
watching
have him
some of
part of
his
this.
special on Netflix, and it's like kind of sad.
Yeah, because he filmed it and it was like stealth filmed, and it was like, hey, I'm dead. I still love Dirty Work.
Imagine
That's
if
one of
there's
my
a
favorite
clip
movies.
somewhere out there where he says, "Hey, I'm dead," and you're watching this, and they
Now
put that in
he
there.
does have a bit where he talks about dying, like a joke. And
Yeah,
this hurts. Like,
that's crazy. That's crazy when shit like that. Yeah,
I mean, so who was it? Saget,
Yeah.
Gottfried, him. I hope Patton Oswalt's next.
you hope he is.
Yeah.
You like him?
No.
That liberal motherfucker.
him
No.
and Will Wheaton
No.
just crash
It's-
into each other.
It's not.
Oh,
It's
you know what?
not.
I'm getting
no,
tired of Will Wheaton.
it's not even his political point of views. It's the fact that him as a comedian has come out against comedians making jokes to the point of where he was willing to give them advice on how to not talk about sensitive subjects. So that to me tells me he's anti-free speech and he's anti-comedy. He can go fuck himself.
Will Wheaton and his whole little
can't stand Will Wheaton.
everybody should be good to each other. Tells the story of how when he was in hockey, he was making jokes and calling people the F word. And then he's like, but I learned from my mistakes. But but he's like bad mouthing people that are saying, no, I learned from my mistakes. He's like, no, fuck you didn't.
It's
Like,
the
no, it doesn't work that way.
the holier than thou.
Yes, exactly.
Every
That's why I
time
started
he
to lose respect
talks,
for him.
I just want to be like, somebody put a dick in his mouth, my zipper's stuck. Will Wheaton is such a swarmy little fuck. I don't know how he has any fame at all anymore. Was it because he's on Big Bang Theory at some point, right?
And that's mostly what revitalized
He is.
him, yeah.
And when he was he was actually making a name for himself in the board game industry, but then opened his dumbass mouth and ruined that. So
I wish he'd make his name for himself on some tragedy wall.
Next movie.
Yeah, I'm done with
Um,
this fucking movie. Sadness, the sad. It's
Yeah.
the
Oh.
sadness, right?
the sadness,
Yes, it's
It's
the
the
sadness.
which is touted as a zombie movie. Everywhere I see, this is touted as a zombie movie.
mean-
It is not a zombie
Whoa,
movie.
whoa, hold on. Would you consider Danny Boyle's Nightmare Before Christmas a zombie movie?
God damn it.
So
28 Days Later. Would you consider 28 Days Later a zombie movie?
well,
I can't
so-
remember, but
wow.
in 28 Days Later, are they
No,
undead?
because
So
I
when
don't know.
what I
No,
what I
it
wanna
was
ask-
infection. Because remember the soldier?
infection.
The
Yes,
soldier gets
infection,
the blood drop in his eye and he becomes
His eye.
rabid. So no, it wasn't just undead.
Can people come back from the dead though? That's what I mean. Because in this one, there's no coming
does
back
not
from the
happen.
dead.
I
And
believe
neither
so.
Neither in 28 days.
No, maybe not. I don't
Then
know.
It's all
I would
infection.
not
It's all
consider.
infection.
I would not consider that a zombie movie. Then
I wanted to ask you guys what would you consider the last good zombie movie?
Oh, the Zack Snyder one, man. It's fucking blurry and amazing. And,
Train to Busan, actually,
yeah, Train to
I have
Busan. The
not seen
sequel,
that.
the
Train to
sequel was
Busan.
good, just not as good as Train to Busan.
is the
But-
sequel out?
Yeah, it's been out for like
Yeah, it is.
a couple years at least.
Train
Fuck, I
to
have to watch it.
Busan to me though.
It's called
I
The
almost
Peninsula.
I almost don't consider that a zombie movie. I consider that more of like infected. It's like on the fence to me.
It's one of the last zombie movies to actually make me care about the main characters or
kinda
whatever
did-
classification it is.
I did like World War Z.
I love
That's a
World
long
World
time
War
ago.
Z is good.
I
Yeah,
did
World
like
War
that
Z is
one.
Well,
good.
World War Z unrated is good.
But
Theatrical.
that's also more infected. To me, the last like good zombie movie was Zack Snyder's original remake of Dawn of the Dead. I feel
Whoa.
everything else.
You think George A. Romero's Land of the Dead wasn't good?
uh,
You know, it was fun. Asia Argenta in it. She can't act. Fucking terrible.
But,
I
I mean-
feel like everything after that, even though they've said zombies are more infected. Like, I feel like that was the last good zombie movie.
I feel like
Shaun of the
if
Dead, Nikki says. It's a good one.
That is a
It
good
is
one.
a good movie. Yeah.
So, you know what movie I want to watch is Hot Fuzz. That movie's fucking amazing.
Here
Oh,
comes
dude,
No,
Shaun of
I-
the Dead, Hot
I
Fuzz,
love-
and
I love Shaun of the
World's
Dead,
End.
but I'm thinking like
World's End.
the last real horror zombie movie.
I mean, Zack Snyder's on, and maybe, and yeah, well, Dawn of the Dead is the reason I hated his last one so much.
I can see that
Because Dawn of the
That makes
Dead
sense.
is, for one thing, I feel it's the best zombie. Well, see, the problem is if the contention would be Dawn of the Dead versus Texas Chainsaw for best horror movie remake or reboot. Between those two, in my opinion. And Dawn of the Dead's so fucking good that, like, Army of the Dead I felt was trash in comparison. I don't know. I mean, Zombieland? I really like the first Zombieland.
I like
Oh,
Zombieland.
Zombieland was really good. I do love Zombieland.
I think that, I
Like,
think it was the
in
whole
general.
narration of it. and
Technically,
making
a
it feel like
zombie
game
is
show, but-
reanimated flesh.
Reanimated. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. This is not a zombie movie.
you die
This
and
is,
you come back.
yeah, this is definitely infection. So it's 28 days later. Now that I think about it, those, if you die, you don't come back. It's an infection, like a viral infection that spreads.
Yeah, but the problem is every movie, that's what it is now, and it's a zombie movie. Like, what was the last real zombie movie with undead flesh was Dawn of the Dead. Everything else has been a fucking infection. You gotta remember,
that's-
technically,
even
World War
even
Z is
yeah,
also infection.
well, World War Z talks about being spawned from Ebola.
Yeah.
So,
So
like,
that's also why I think like the term zombies we're thinking of is like of a dying era. Like the new term zombie people think of is this.
wait,
which
Is
kinda
a
Amber
weird.
mindless person running around.
Amber
too.
Heard is not in Zombieland, Nikki.
Yeah, I was gonna say she's not in there.
It's
Amber Heard?
Emma Stone and the little girl
Abigail,
from
I think
Abigail
something or
Breslin.
other.
Yeah.
Yeah, not Amber Turd.
Oh
Yeah,
god,
there
she's
was
not
no
going to be in
shitting on
anything.
beds in that movie at all.
You
So I
can
know
s-
she wasn't in it.
You can
Yeah.
see Amber Heard's next movie live only on OnlyFans. She's got to pay Johnny somehow.
Stevie
She's in the-
Load.
She's in the first.
Starting soon.
Oh, is Amber Heard the neighbor? No way. She's the neighbor.
No, what? Really?
From the first
We gotta watch Zombieland so I can see Amber Heard hit in the face with a fucking toilet lid. I didn't know that was her. See, that's how little I know of Amber Heard and watch her garbage pile movies besides Aquaman. I didn't even know that's her. Now we gotta watch that this weekend. Celebrate Johnny's victory.
Oh, that is Amber Heard.
No fucking way. I had no idea. I had no idea who
I didn't
Amber
know she
Heard
was in
was
the first
before
one.
Johnny married her, and then I still didn't care.
That's before her dog stepped on a bee.
The
And
dog stepped on a bee.
one time in math, she got a C.
Oh god, she's 406.
Sweet. We're gonna watch that this weekend along with Transformers and every other fucking movie I want to watch. So the sadness, this movie is hardcore. And despite
It
the
is
debate
very
about whether
hardcore.
or not it's zombie, and I think you're right in saying this isn't zombies do the animated. Also, I mean, these people, they lose, it's not even like they lose control. It's like they like what they're doing. It's almost more of a possession than it is,
They
you know?
they do make reference to about why their tears are coming down is because they are liking what they're doing, but they're also not really proud of what they're doing, so they're crying. And that's why they have tears coming down. They said that in the movie.
Yoshi is interrupting by dreaming.
I could hear it. That was Yoshi's like, can I just check
Yeah,
it out?
if you haven't read the comic book, this is a carbon copy of the comic book Cross by Garth Ennis, who also does The Boys and Preacher. And essentially, even in the comic, they don't know what it is. In the movie, they say it's like a virus. But encountering these people, if they attack you, bite you, even being around them, you essentially just become like as depraved and demonic as possible.
Yeah, and I looked
Yeah.
at it much like a possession, almost like I know they said virus, but like basically the premise of this movie is people start going fucking haywire, and they just start doing hate, and it's almost like you know this guy stabs this guy in the throat, and then he's down, but then if he's still alive, he gets back up and starts stabbing other motherfuckers, and it just goes on like that. And here's the problem with this movie: is there's not a ton to review, only because at a certain point it comes down to like, yeah, man, the train scene, it's so gory, and here's the truth of this movie. If you are a horror movie fan and you're looking for something hardcore, this is for you. This movie has brutal violence, rape, including gang rape, in specifically violent sexual situations beyond that. It's it's a gross out movie. It's a weird movie. It's a sinister movie. If you are into the hardcore genre of this sort of shit, for you know, and I can equate it to if you like The Raid, then this movie is at night, whatever the night comes for us version of a zombie movie. It's just balls to the wall, grotesque, violent, and just very, very, you know. And here's the thing: is we not problem, but the thing about cinema is there isn't a ton of sexual assault movies anymore. And what people don't understand is like in the 70s there was. I mean, that's what every horror movie was based off
all
of.
it was, yeah.
Yeah. Nowadays, it's almost taboo to talk about it or show it.
So when you see it nowadays, it's like holy fuck. And here's the thing: the rape scenes in this movie are not limited to women.
That is true.
Yeah.
They do treat it as an almost like an animalistic dominant sort of, and then but by the end, you know, and there's weird scenes in this movie, genital mutilation, torture. It's just one of those movies where if you're in the mood for a bloodbath, this will quench that thirst. With that said, the story itself is very thin. The story itself is the signal.
Yeah.
Girl is here, boy is here, boy tries to make back to girl, girl tries to make back to boy, and the environment is the story. Very thin. And it's also a different language, so you have to be comfortable with reading. As
the
far
one
as
failure of this movie is that I wish keep everything the way it is. Don't make one family the central story characters. You have a whole city. You can make multiple stories come together.
I was actually confused about in this movie. Like, how come by the time he gets out of his apartment, seemingly his entire city is already turned? Like, how'd that happen?
Yeah, they said 4.6 million people are infected.
Yeah, it pulls the zombie trope movie of like he wasn't aware and now the city's gone to hell, and it's like it doesn't really work anymore. Like,
yeah.
But clearly this movie was made like the director was like, I got a shoestring idea, but I just want to make a gore movie for the sake of gore.
So
you know how it could have worked? You know how it could have worked? Is if they did it before the internet era. If they dated it back a bit and did it, because with how internet is now, everything would have been quick. You would have been getting those you know emergency messages. You would have been getting this saying, you know, shit's going on, people are going crazy. Stay inside, lock your doors.
I'm going to counteract both your arguments real quick. I think it does work in this movie with the escalation. And again, I have nothing against Asian people or Asian countries, but I think it's because aside from South Korea, most Asian countries, the people see what the government wants them to see.
Racist.
And I think that feeds into why he didn't recognize right away. I mean, even the emergency system was like, hey, stay in your home. We'll let you know what's going on when we let you know what's going on.
And it was just a flash of what it was telling you. There was
Yeah,
nothing,
even on their phones was like, hey, go
nothing
home,
broadcast.
stay in
Yeah.
your home.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
it was just containment.
Yeah.
Have
yeah,
you
yeah.
guys? I kind of compare this to another I don't know if it's a Taiwanese movie, but it's on Netflix. It's called #Alive. Have you guys seen it?
Yes,
I am
That's
yes.
on
actually.
Netflix. Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of gave me those vibes, and that's a point A to point B movie as well. But I feel like that did it more effective, because you get the story beats of the two characters. Whereas here, the director was like, yeah, we got the boy and the girl, but it's just gore. I'm like,
Well, see, that's the
no.
thing is there have been movies that have effectively done it. I.e., I think of like The Crazies.
That's a
That
Mm-hmm,
movie was
good
a really
movie.
rough movie, but there was a lot of
mm-hmm.
character development. That movie was like a mix of Walking Dead and The Road, kind of. Um,
Damn, that's a deep cut. That's a really good movie.
so like and here's the thing I will say, I don't think I saw a drop of CG blood. I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
the
no,
blood
I'm pretty sure it
effects
was
were
all, yeah.
Yeah.
most,
This is
if not
all
all, practical.
practical. Yeah.
Which I always appreciate. And like I said, as somebody who really does like ultra gory movies, for me, I've never been, I've never liked rape scenes in any movie, and that's why a lot of the old '70s horror
Yeah.
movies I disconnect from. I'm not huge fans of them, and the unfortunate part of that is you have a lot of golden '70s horror,
Yeah.
but they don't start. And the problem is, then you go in the '80s and you hit the censorship era, where like look at Jason, how they butchered all the Jason movies and how censored they were. And so like you go from one era of like every horror movie is a revenge movie, and it starts off with some chick getting raped, and then you go to ultra kind of like, if someone's being killed, it's a quick cutaway, you don't get the violence. And I think honestly I get the point they're making, but without actual lore and reasoning. To me, it's just like you're doing rape scenes because it's violent and it's vile, and that's what you want to do on camera. With that said, there's not a ton of them. I think it's two. One of them is particularly disgusting, but you don't really see anything of it. It's more of the guy describes what happened, but it does. Even that though plays into the lore of what these people turn into. So in this movie, isn't that big of a. It's not that big of a deal for me, but to me, it does take a little bit away of the enjoyment of the other stuff, which I know it's hypocritical, but the ultra gore,
Mhm.
which is why I'm here. I'm not here, just like when I'm watching any other. I'm not if like X. I'm really not there to see some tits on camera. I really, at this point in my life, have don't when those scenes come out, I have no fucking interest. Like so, in this movie, it's the same thing where it's like, okay, I get it, but let's fucking move on. We don't need to make 10 minutes of the movie about it because the train section until like he's chasing her is, I mean, there's like two of them in that two or three of them. Other than that, I like the movie. I don't know if I can recommend it to everybody. This would be of like looking for something violent. You're looking for something fucked
Yeah.
up because you're gonna need to be.
And
Yeah.
with those scenes, with all the scenes actually, from the violence to the rape, um, there's a point where it's explained why when they're turned they act this way, in this animalistic way, and it's explained very well. But it's after you've gotten through all the hard shit.
Well,
So like
no,
as you're watching the movie, you're like, why does that have to be in there right there like
You
that?
find out near the end of
And
it.
you
you're
find
like,
out
what?
near the end
well,
from the
no,
doctor.
but yeah, but even then, I do appreciate this movie and the fact that it still doesn't let up. The doctor tells you what's actually
Yeah.
going on, and then he's been killing babies.
Yeah, that
Yeah, it gets
scene-
rough. It gets rough.
Like the movie, I will
8 of
say,
them.
there's a very definite start, and then it's to the end of the movie. There
And
is
it's
no
funny 'cause
stop.
it's like okay, I can forgive you on those scenes. You've explained it, and then yeah, you discover what he's doing with babies. And you're like, okay, come on, dude.
The
Like,
one character in the movie where you're like, this guy might make some sense, and then it's like, fuck,
I know.
he's
What
goofy
I
too.
what I
Yeah.
will say about this movie is it is a horror movie that a director sets out to do something and succeeds in it. Like
Yes.
he made a gory movie to disgust you, and this movie does it. And a lot of horror directors miss the mark, and this guy uh hit it pretty hard on the head.
They do also play into the pandemic.
Yes.
It's something that happens, and it's like it spreads, and we're not sure if it was actually created by man or
Which
what it evolved
Which would
to.
make even more sense if they are doing based on reality of the pandemic, people being willing to comply like they did as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
people will be
Yes.
willing to go into lockdown if it means blah blah blah. So that makes sense too.
Yeah.
I just wish there was like, I don't know. The
But I
the
mean,
whole not
to-
being reanimated thing doesn't bother me as much as like they also didn't really do a whole lot as far as like bodies contorting and anything, or like I would have liked to seen like some twitchiness or something out of them to show that maybe they are in there fighting the body back somehow, just a little bit of like, I don't know, once again, little minor things that could have been added in hindsight. Yeah, it's me, some asshole watching it, but if it were, if it were me, I'd like some like off beats where the guy goes to stab somebody and it, like the body just doesn't move right, and it symbolizes that like there's a battle going inside between this virus and the person that's actually the person, some sort of shit like that.
well, I think that stems from like when you watch primarily horror-based Asian movies, especially in the realm of creature feature, possession, some sort of
Yeah, there's a lot of that Twitch shit,
transformation.
isn't there?
There's like body dysmorphia, and Asian horror films do it very, very well.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're very good at it.
Yeah, I kind of
So,
missed that
yeah.
in here. I kind of wanted some.
Yeah, in watching it, I expected it, and it wasn't there. Especially with the way they were mutating. I mean, when you see the lady behind Alex for the first time, I was expecting it hardcore from her. Some sort of rotation of limbs, spinning in a weird way, and yeah, there was none of that.
Sorry, Matt.
Lady, yeah, that scene with her is pretty crazy. But
She first thing she does is she spits in a dude's face,
Yeah, which is
and then she fucking grabs the fucking frying tray and dumps, like the thing and fucking grease on somebody's face. It's fucking
yeah,
nuts.
that was the moment where my wife's like, "All right, I'm out."
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't show Jen X. I didn't think she'd dig it. She would have been probably next to me, just like, this is fucking stupid. I knew she didn't have the stomach for this one. She's not a big horror movie gal either, though. Like the ones that I've got her to watch, I guess I should be thankful for, because there's my infamous story about the haunting in Connecticut. We watched it at such a low volume, it was just subtitles.
Yeah.
It was like 1 a.m. We were in the old house, obviously, in my little room, and like the volume, she just kept putting it lower and lower.
Because
To the point where-
that has booming volume, right? Like
Not only that, but yeah, it's a lot of jump scares.
yeah.
And to the point where like I was just so bored with it because I'm watching it with subtitles on. I was like, yeah. I think that was
I'm
like
good.
I think that was.
good.
But I mean, she's come through though. Like when Paranormal Activity first came out and was in theaters, and this was still when it was like you would see the commercial, and it was like, man, they're not in my movie theater. What the fuck? And they were slowly starting to show up in movie theaters. We went to the City North to see something. I think probably some girly movie, and she noticed that it was playing there, and I had talked about it, and she was like, "This is playing here." And I was like, fuck, dude, really? And she was just like, yeah. And I was like, all right, maybe we'll see. We'll see if it's still here in a couple weeks. And she was like, no, let's go see it. And she loves those movies.
They're great, and they don't have a lot of jump. That's more of a tension.
Well,
movie.
the first one is tension, and then like the zooming at the cameras and the audio and shit.
Have you guys watched the newest one?
Have a
Yes, I did.
wonderful day
It's-
there or night, Nikki.
The
I
newest
have
one is
not.
it's very different.
I liked it.
I liked it too. It's different, but it's a good different. It's a make sense different.
We started watching them. I think we got up to number 3 because we haven't seen the new one, and we were going to rewatch them all. That's another series we got to
I
get back
honestly
into
like
somehow.
Ghost Dimensions. I like that one because you
do like
see
that one.
you see the full spectrum of what's going on both sides, and I like that they did that.
Was that the one with the grandmother too? Where she?
No,
Or-
think
no,
that-
I think that's the previous one.
Which one is the one with the Xbox Connect camera?
I like that one. I don't remember which one that
That's
is.
3.
I like
That's
that.
3.
I had a Connect at the time, and I remember like watching it, and Jen's like, "What is that?" I was like, "That's a fucking Connect." The problem is then when you watch Ghost Adventures and you're watching their shit, and you're like, "These assholes are using a fucking Connect sensor.
Yeah.
Are they
But it
legitimately
was
hunting
in
ghosts?"
that movie. It was cool because if you had to really pay attention to the screen, and there were scenes where you see it moving
Yeah,
in the light. Yeah,
yeah,
it was
the
really
kind of
well
like
done.
I like all those movies. Movies I want to watch, and I thought they were on HBO Max, but I didn't see them. Final Destination. I'd like to watch the whole.
Oh, that'd be
I
good,
tried looking
yeah.
for them too.
I can't find them
You
anywhere.
can get them all digital on Vudu.
Yeah, but I was looking for Free Fitty.
Yeah, that sounds like a better deal.
Yeah, I was looking for them to watch, and yeah, they're nowhere.
For $14, you can get them all.
I'm sure. I wonder if I could find them for like $14 normal on sale together.
They're making a new one. It's going to be on HBO Max.
Oh,
So why the fuck aren't the rest of them? They were.
Those movies are the trashy horror version of Fast and the Furious for me. Like they could pump out garbage ones, and I will watch every single.
Yeah, but
the
they're better.
narration in the first one is like, I get you. You want me to die from tetanus? Shut the fuck up.
I remember I watched the second one first. I had never seen the other ones, or the first one, and then I watched the second one, and then I watched the first one, and I was like, why the fuck did this get a sequel? I was like,
I love them all.
To be fair, I haven't watched the first one in a long time, and I want to give it another shot. But I remember watching it and being like,
Do you own Idle Hands?
I do, I believe.
I want to watch that. I don't know why. It's just funny.
You know what? I do own that because I remember like telling Jen like you'll like this movie because it's got all of the '90s actors and shit
Right.
in it, and it's very '90s, and she, you know, she's a big Clueless and Can't Hardly Wait and that type fan. And it's
Yeah.
kind of a blending of the two. So I believe I bought it specifically because I thought she would dig it as well.
Yeah.
And she hated it.
We haven't watched it, but she's watched.
She loathed it.
She's watched what is it? Girls Want to Have Fun or whatever that shit show with Horseface is, like 6 times while laying down.
Oh, the movie. Yeah, it's not good.
All right, you know, you guys ready to give numbers on this thing or
Crash
hot
is
dogs?
doing Kirby's. What's going
I don't
on
know
with
what
Crash?
Kirby even means. Is that like a Pride Kirby or?
That's from Damsel. That's from.
I do like it.
Damsel.
It is cool looking. I want to get one of those with the nerd head.
You bounce it up and down.
Just different colors and shit, RGBing the spectrum. Anybody have anything they want to say about this movie before we do wrap it up?
Watch it unless you have several trigger warnings. Although it's
Yeah.
trigger
Yeah,
warnings.
yeah.
Yeah, for one thing,
Yeah.
if you are a casual horror fan of like, I like The
You
Conjuring,
might want to skip it.
and
It's
you're
not
not,
for you.
it's not for you. If
Yeah.
you think mainstream horror movies, although that new Ethan Hawke movie looks really fucking cool.
The
Which one's that one?
backbone.
Yeah,
Yes, I want to see that.
I want to see that. But yeah, if you're more of a mainstreamer, this isn't your cup of tea. If you do have trigger warnings for sexual assault, violent sexuality in any kind, this isn't your thing. Also, if you have
This
trigger
is-
warnings
yeah.
of women being abused and or tortured, this is a rough one. And
Shit, if you have trigger warnings of men being abused or tortured,
Yeah, it's
like,
it's
let's
actually
be
equal.
honest.
It's actually equal opportunity on everybody.
yeah,
Yeah.
If you
Which is
just
weird
Normally-
because this is from the China. You know, this
if
is
you
from-
have trigger warnings about
this isn't a
Um,
Chinese movie.
violence
it's
against
it's Taiwanese,
children.
but they use they're under China. Remember?
Normally, I would say if you don't like this stuff, don't watch horror movies. But for this movie in particular,
Yeah.
it's a rough movie. So you got
This
to
is
know
a
what you're getting
2
into.
gold star. Normally 1 gold star is the factor. This is 2 gold star.
The whole
Oh,
time, my
sorry.
wife had a blanket over her head, and she got mad every time I touched her feet just to fucking make her
This
look.
this is
She-
the
she
type of
fucking got
movie
mad.
where you have a friend come over and they're like, "I love horror movies," and you're like, "Oh, let me show you."
Yeah,
something."
yeah.
I've
Basically,
got something for you.
basically, you either put this on or the Serbian film.
That's true. Yeah,
God.
very true.
Yeah.
All right, I'm ready. I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna give this. I'm between 2.5 and 3. Like, I'm gonna go 2.5 only because the shoestring storyline, like discounting the rape shit. It really doesn't have much of a. I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna go 2.5 because basically the only things I like about this movie are the gore, which is really the bulk of it. But In this case, I more appreciate the physical effects as opposed to CG. This is another movie, despite it not being super long, that does have dead space. There are scenes
does,
of,
yeah.
you know, and that's another big problem with a movie like this. You know, once again, I guess maybe Dawn of the Dead is my gold standard, but if there isn't a certain pace to these type things, that was one of the great things about Train to Busan, is the fucking pace was relentless.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, it was full charge, and then you got a couple moments of levity, and then a main character gets taken out, and then a slow part, and then another one gets fucking eaten.
That was just on a train. You would expect that pace to be more here because he's running through the fucking city of 4 point whatever million.
Well,
infected.
that's the other problem, is he's not really even in the movie. His story is like 10 minutes of footage, and then he fucks off, and then he's infected. Why didn't we see him going through the danger zone? Why? And here's the thing: it's probably due to smaller budget.
Talk about the ending. Do you believe in what was given to us that she dies at the end?
No.
You didn't hear the gunfire? You didn't hear the gunfire when she went to the roof? She starts laughing.
That was him shooting himself.
That was him, yeah.
She starts laughing and goes to the roof, and then there's gunfire.
No, that's the guy shooting himself in the doorway.
No, not one shot. There's multiples.
Well, I think they were remember, because the city's being overrun, the hospital's being overrun. Yeah, and she was on the walkie-talkie thing. The whole time. So I think they knew she was coming. I think that was the helicopter trying to fight off, you know, other creatures around them.
Yeah, I didn't take it as her being Tony Soprano.
I don't know. I figured because when she was sitting there staring at him, she got close enough to get infected in some way. Also, she also got the injection. So
yeah, I think she's immune, to be honest.
Yeah, the whole thing was that's why he wanted her, because he
ran the test at the end.
Yeah. She was immune. He wanted her blood.
I just I don't know. For me, I thought it sounded like actual gunfire, like as she came up to the top, and then
I think there was gunfire, but I think it was to keep them away from the helicopter train, because you imagine that helicopter making all that noise. The infected, and
but it was also a gated entrance to go up there.
The infected in this movie are not lacking in intelligence. They know what they want. They go for it.
Yeah.
So
it's almost like there's an evil to them that feeds it.
Yeah.
I agree.
Scores,
you
gents.
Your rating?
I'm gonna go 2.5.
2.5.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give this one a 3, an extra 5 above X, only because unlike X, like this movie, the director was like, this is the story. Even though there's the story, the intent is the violent, depraved gore, and the director fucking knocked it out of the park. This is also such an effective movie that it's made it onto my personal list of movies I will probably never watch again. Along with The Road, which is not, it's kind of a horror movie. Incident in a Ghostland, Martyrs.
Martyrs? You don't like Martyrs?
No, and all of
I've watched that movie like 5 times in my lifetime.
All of those movies, including this movie, very effective. Just because they go on that list, it doesn't mean I don't like them. It's just not I respect it, but it's not my wheelhouse of horror.
Yeah.
The only thing I have that's sort of in that direction is the Texas Chainsaw franchise. Other than that, I don't really fuck around with that stuff. But I appreciate it, and I appreciate these non-American movies because like it seems like they have a love for like the craft and the like, let's not CGI everything, and the fucking body distortion. Like they're really good at it. There's a reason they're really good at horror and they're fucking martial arts movies. Like America should be embarrassed for the shit that they put out that unfortunately doesn't get noticed. A lot of it goes under the radar. Yeah.
Also, they enjoy the creepy factor because let me look right here.
Does anybody watch the show Raised by Wolves?
Yeah.
It got canceled.
No.
2 seasons.
Fuck.
That's about right.
Some bitch.
I haven't seen the second season yet.
I want to watch that show, but now it just seems pointless.
Was that by Hulu or was it by
HBO?
No, that was on HBO.
It was Ridley Scott, who shouldn't someone needs to take the Alien franchise away from his brittle hands.
I mean, he
Um,
probably should have taken some time off after his brother's untimely departure.
Well, not only that, his period piece movie failed with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. And
Did anybody
all
watch it though?
audiences.
Did
It
anyone
did.
watch it? Is it good or
Which one was
bad?
it?
Is it bad?
It's not a bad movie, but you
But
can't convince me that Matt Damon and Ben Affleck are
Matt
not just Matt
Damon.
Damon and Ben.
Yeah.
Matt Damon has a mullet in that movie.
Is there any like what fuck type movie is it?
It's 16th century. It's the fucking it's back when I
But is
forgot
there
what
is it
scene
is there action or is it just a drama?
It's more drama. It's mainly drama. It's
I
worth
was
a
gonna watch
watch.
it, but
Just as soon as you see Ben Affleck, you're like,
with his
really, you
blonde
couldn't-
hair.
yeah, you
What's up,
couldn't do
Slim?
better than this. But yeah, 3 out of 5 for me. This I'm normally not the person that's like, don't watch this movie if you don't like horror. No, you need to know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, if you're watching this, you're in for a rough ride. So understand that it's not a
So-
polite movie at all.
No.
So 3 out of 5 for me.
I'll go next because I'm going to be short. It's very
How
graphic.
short are you?
It's very. I'm not that short. No, but it's a very graphic movie and very gory, which wasn't bad. It was just like some of the content of I believe it was like most of the rape and stuff that was happening. It pushed a little buttons in a different direction, but I did enjoy how they did make all the people like they look scary being happy with fucking black eyes
Like my
and
wife.
around.
Yeah.
And I liked how they kept it creepy in that way. So this one for me was actually 2.5 for me.
Alex is like, man, all the blood kept getting in the way of the delicious rape jerk off scenes.
That I could have done without all the raping.
Yeah,
shit of it.
and here's the thing, like any of it, like I'm not even partial. I'm not like white knighting. The dude in the business suit getting raped was actually worse than like any of the other shit. It's just like what the
Yeah.
fuck, and like I said, the problem I think for me especially with those scenes
and they didn't
is Giovanni
discriminate.
said you don't find out really what the fuck's going on until the end, and then it's
Until
like
you have to get
Yeah.
through it. Yeah.
once again, this is a
You
movie
have
that
to
if
get through it.
you're not prepared for it, it does kind of happen to you.
And it doesn't discriminate on gender of
Oh,
who's
no.
getting what.
Oh, everybody's
It's
fucked.
just everybody's getting fucking
Literally.
everybody. I mean, even
But
like the
I-
fucking, even at the hospital, the mass fucking orgy
Maybe
that happened. It was
maybe-
so weird.
maybe the reason I don't like is not only just the fact that they're heinous sexual assault scenes, but the idea that like it's so much within this movie. Like the whole idea of like yeah fuck them is just like in every part of it. It's a central storyline, probably the strongest storyline in the
Yeah.
whole fucking movie is that, and it's just like yeah.
We didn't mention the grenade in the mouth though. That's where that's where Giovanni, what he was talking about, gets explained at that moment. This is what happens, blah 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 blah, and he goes through the whole thing, and then all of a sudden the sideman comes up and fucking stuffs a grenade in fucking the president's mouth and blows him up on live
that was
TV.
pretty-
No. The most
That
of
was- I
no
love
the,
that.
the stuff that it's explained happens with the doctor at the end. He's the one that eventually gives you the real fucking answer.
It's in the hospital though.
The
It's
scene-
the
the scene,
people
yeah,
watching
in the
TV
hospital.
in the hospital.
In
yeah.
the scene with the president, I
Yeah.
do find that scene pretty great.
That was hilarious. That was so
Once
funny.
again, it's like it was almost like an '80s horror movie with the puppetry of the head.
So we talked about the head just blow sideways.
Those fucking scanners.
Yeah.
Yeah. it's,
I'll go next. This is a 3 for me as well.
but you're the
I'm
last one.
in-
You have to. Go next.
I'm in the vein of Anthony. This is one of those movies that I probably will not watch again. I did enjoy it, and I think I'm gonna go and say that a movie like this is important for the genre of horror because there are certain, especially here in America, there are certain points where artists feel they can't release a movie with extreme violence because they're worried about what it says.
Yeah, and Asian
It's-
cultures like hold my
I
beer.
hold up
Yeah,
though.
hold it.
I understand
You
where you're
can't show
going,
pubic hair, but we're gonna do
and
this.
I don't 100% disagree. But I will argue that movies like this that do it just because they can hurt that fight.
And that's that's the second point I'm getting to.
It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, for the violence for the sake of violence in a movie, and it's the same for sex. Going back to X, the sex in X worked because of what the storyline
Right.
Well, that
implemented.
movie,
It
if
was
you
part
don't
of
if
the
you don't have
story.
sex scenes in it, it's stupid. They're filming a porno.
Yeah. So sex for the sake of sex in a movie is like, why is this here? What are we doing? And it's the same for violence, especially true for violence. Just to throw something in there, just to throw it in there, it's awkward. It's pulls you out of the movie.
Which
It's out of place.
I wouldn't have minded the excessive violence so much if it made sense. Like if there was a reason. But like the Signal has that same problem. And I love the Signal, but the problem it has is it doesn't justify anything. It talks about the Signal, doesn't really give you any reason to give a shit about anybody. Which neither does this movie. The only person I actually felt any general remorse for was the poor fat chick in the wheelchair.
I
Yeah.
know.
Other than her, there wasn't, this movie doesn't give you any real connections to make, though, either. It goes from, like, what the fuck's going on to immediately murder. So,
But
it's a weird jump.
She becomes kind of like the most sadistic-ish in a way. Like,
Well, so we're told. You
Yeah.
don't. Well, no, that's right. She does come back later, doesn't she?
She does,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
She does come back for a moment at the end there.
and she used the bone saw and everything. Yeah.
Which I guess
I will add this.
I guess
to-
can justify it, considering she's alive and happy, right? I don't know.
That's true.
Fucking nuts out of her mind.
She's seeing out of her true eye.
I'm weird.
I will add this to the movies that I probably will never watch again. As you guys know, The Hills Have Eyes, the remake, I cannot get through that movie.
The movie's rough,
It
yeah.
bothers me entirely.
We should make
The
you
original
review it.
or the sequel or the remake.
The remake.
Alex, the week that
Yeah.
Lewis is off, Hills Have Eyes.
I mean, I'll review it.
We're
but
gonna
I've
make
got
a
a
fucking
story.
square.
I've got a
It's gonna
story
be-
about that. I've got a
It's gonna
story
be
about
rough
that.
for me to
Oh,
get through.
yeah, go on, sorry. I have a hard time with that one too.
No, but
Yeah,
when we review it, I got a story for it.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I feel that this movie, it can be done, even for the sake of violence. It can be done, and I want to see more horror movies with that level of gore, with that level of violence. But I want it to fit in. I want it to make sense.
You had some fucking
Um,
structure,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
just
it adds
just
something to
chaos.
it.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
example, the Crazies, the remake.
Yeah.
Care about the characters.
That was a
you
brutal
still see
movie.
The violence. Yeah.
Mhm. It's perfect. Yeah, so this is a 3 for me. I did enjoy it, but I will not seek it out.
All right, everybody. That wraps us up. Next week. Well, I know we
The
have
Northman.
Northman.
North-
We've got the Northman on the calendar,
And
but what else?
something else?
Assassin's Creed.
I made a joke earlier, Matt, about doing the it because they're both Scar guards or Scar or whatever you're gonna. I can't say
Skarsgård.
Skarsgård.
That doesn't make
You
any
don't like
sense.
the it?
Doesn't make any sense. I mean, I
Well, no,
understand the
they're brothers, they're
Skarsgård
brothers,
connection,
they're
but
brothers.
why wouldn't you do a Stellan Skarsgård movie? Why don't we do Mamma Mia then?
Oh, don't make me. Do
I'm just saying the Skarsgård
No.
connection, father and son, right?
No.
Oh,
I'd
so we can go that
I'd
route
rather
too.
watch the sadness again.
Yeah, because at least you're not sad in real life, but Mamma
What about
Mia
The Shed?
after. Do you
wanna
want to
do a
still
new
be on
review
this
of The
show?
Shed?
You want to do a newer? How about No Time to Die?
I haven't watched it yet. It's like almost 3 hours long.
Jen's excited about Mamma
What is
Mia.
No
She
Time
said
to Die?
She wants in on it.
Have
The
you
last
seen-
James
have
Bond
you
movie.
seen all the Daniel Craig James Bond movies?
So I'm going through them now. I don't like any of them.
Why not?
I think he's the best.
Wait,
Bond.
you don't like
I
Casino
don't-
Royale? Have you watched that?
Yes, I have. I don't
What?
like it.
He
You
likes
are
Casino, but
you're
not
a
the movie.
fool.
I don't like them.
Motherfucker pulls a
will-
bullet
we'll
out of
do-
his stomach middle of the fucking movie, almost dies and gets defibbed. Shit.
What
What are you, a Pierce Brosnan loyalist?
No. I actually like the Sean Connery. Yeah.
We'll end the episode and then we'll discuss right after.
Pussy galore.
But for sure we'll do reviewing the Northman, so you guys can.
Yeah, Northman for
At least that's one
sure.
of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm okay, but if you're not, well, how many have you watched?
Get into Matt's Discord if you want to know what the second one's going to be.
That's not true. I don't know how long I'm hanging out tonight.
No. I'm saying join Matt's Discord
Oh
so
yeah,
you can find out.
I should probably
later.
do that for all 2 people.
Also, Nikki was here earlier, which I don't know how to do that shit.
She's asleep at this
I
point.
know, but she was.
Wake
here
her
earlier.
up.
Get the fuck up. You want a plug?
There you go.
The clip's gonna play now, though.
You should text Nikki and be like, hey, and when she responds back, I'm sleeping. What? The stream's not over. Get up.
Oh no, there's no clip.
Clip did not play. Oh, you know what? It's not in this one. That's right. It's only my other live scene. Good.
I mean, is there anything out like recently that you guys thinking of watching, or
I have not seen anything that I'm hoping to see yet. No.
We'll talk about it. We're gonna end stream, guys. Everybody have a wonderful evening. Thank you for watching. You all have a great evening. We will see you
Yep,
Monday.
have a good night.
Bye.